Hi students, this is AJ sir. Let's study 9th standard ICSE Math 3B. Question 2. A sum of money, so the original principal, which is not given, is invested at compound interest and it amounts to 19,360 after 2 years and 23,425.60 in 4 years. Find the rate of interest and the original principal. So here, the amount for 4 years as well as for 2 years have been given. Amount after 4 years and amount after 2 years have been given. The original principal is unknown. Every year, interest is added on the principal. It is compounded. After 2 years, it grew to this, and after 4 years, it grew to this. Now, why is the amount after 4 years more than the amount after 2 years? Because interest keeps getting added every year. So, if we take this as a starting point, if we take this as the principal at say year 0, that means after 2 years, this grew into this. Interest was added on this after the 3rd year, and then interest was added after the 4th year, and we got this as the amount. So let's assume this to be the principal and this to be the amount, and the time period will be 2 years. So you're using this information, amount, principal, and the time period of 2 years. We can now solve it like we did in the previous exercise to get the value of R. This goes down, get rid of the decimals, reduce them as much as you can. Yes, you'll have to solve it and not just copy. Obviously, this is going to be a perfect square so that the square signs can disappear. And finally, we send 1 LCM and we cross multiply to get the value of R as 10% per annum. Now the next question is, what was the original principal amount? This was after 2 years and this was after 4 years. What was the principal at 0 years? So let's take this as the final amount now, the time as 2 years, and the principal is P. So again, we use the formula. We substitute all the values as usual, and we get the value of principal at year 0. Now the 4th sum. On what sum of money, that is the principal, will compound interest for 2 years be the same as simple interest on rupees 9430 for 10 years, and the rate is same? So this 9430 is the principal for simple interest, and we have to find the principal for compound interest. So let's calculate the simple interest first, because the compound interest will be equal to that simple interest. So first we calculate simple interest because all the information is given. Now this is the same as compound interest, which is given in the question. Now we'll use the compound interest formula. Remove P common. So what is left inside the brackets is this. Remember, when P goes out, -1 is left here. The rate of interest is same 5, but the number of years now is 2. Reduce further, do LCM. Find the square, again do LCM, and you get this fraction. Now I want P alone, so 400 goes up and 41 goes down, and we get the principal as rupees 46,000 for the compound interest. Now in the 5th sum, Kamal and Anand each have lent the same sum of money. So principal will be same for both, but that's not given. The amount of principal is not given. For 2 years, so time is also same, and 5%, so the rate is also same. But Anand received 15 rupees more than Kamal, which is obvious because Anand is getting compound interest and Kamal is getting simple interest. So find the amount of money lent by each and the interest received by each. So here, first of all, let's assume that the principal is 100 rupees for both. So we find the assumed simple interest for Kamal and the assumed compound interest for Anand using the usual formulae. Now clearly compound interest is slightly greater than the simple interest. These are the assumed values, not the actual interest amounts. So the assumed difference between them is 1/4. Now we will use unitary method. When the principal was assumed as 100, the difference was found out to be 1/4. But the actual difference is mentioned in the question as 15 rupees. So what is the actual principal? Cross multiply and we get the answer of the actual principal for both is 6,000 rupees each. Now we find the actual simple interest by using the formula and the compound interest as well. We can use the formula to find compound interest, but it will be easier to just add 15 to the simple interest to get the compound interest. Now in question 8, the compound interest on a certain sum is given as 246. Calculate the simple interest on the same sum. So using the compound interest formula, we'll get the value of P, and we'll use the same P in simple interest and we'll calculate the simple interest. So here we use compound interest formula, take P common as usual, substitute the values, reduce and take LCM, square it and again take LCM. We know the value of compound interest. We need P alone, so 400 goes up and 41 goes down. That way we get the P's value as 2,400. Now we'll use it in the simple interest formula. The rate and time here are different. Substitute the values and get the value of simple interest as rupees 432. Students, mark the second sum and the fifth sum as IMP. Now let's do the ninth sum. A certain sum of money, that is principal, amounts to this much in 3 years, 10% simple interest. So we'll have to find the principal first for simple interest. Find the amount of the same sum in 2 years, but this time it's compound interest. So we'll use the principal of the simple interest to calculate the compound interest. So it is similar to the 8th sum, but quite the opposite. So here we see that amount for a simple interest sum is P plus SI. Substitute the values, take P out common. We know the value of A, R and T. The only thing missing is P. So solve this, take the LCM in the brackets. P should be alone, so 10 goes up and 13 goes down, and we get the value of principal as 18,000. Now using the same principle, we will now use the formula of compound interest. Compound interest amount formula is this. Substitute the values of P, R and number of years is 2. Solve and you'll get the final answer.